Hey guys, I'm Jenaux, and this is Noiseporn, Unzipped. Earliest memory of music, I was born in Russia, and my parents came here, and music was huge here, and they always loved music, but they came from a communist country. They didn't have access to all the music that most people would. It was actually illegal to have a lot of music. You'd have to, if you knew someone who had like a Beatles tape and you had Pink Floyd, you would swap, burn the tapes, and then flip them. When they came, they took like one bag and just left as fast as they could. I was really young, I was like a year and a half, but when I was growing up, my father just had racks of cassette tapes and CDs, and I would just always like look at them and try to play them, and there's just all these videos of me playing music, dancing. I played piano since I was 4, and so I think my entire childhood was very musical. It's hard to like direct one moment, but I think overall music played a big role in my life. My father loved dance music. I think I had like every year of ultimate dance party. Ace of Base classics, like the most random songs, reel to reel, you name it. And then I think my older cousins, when I got older, like 10, 11, 12, they had, you know, I remember them listening to more kind of like the bigger house music, the stuff you would hear in warehouses in the early 2000s. So when I was like 16, I was coming and trying to sneak into clubs in New York, like Crowbar, and try to see these shows and stuff along the West Side Highway. Sometimes I did successfully, sometimes not. Like the old Jonathan Peters parties and stuff. Like a lot of 30-year-olds there, a lot of older people, but they were cool. The clubs like this don't exist anymore. They were huge rooms, like almost warehouses, and the music is blaring and no one's really focused on the DJ. The DJ is there playing music, but you're not there for the DJ, but you're there for the music and the environment and the atmosphere, and there's really nothing like it. It was really cool. I wish something like that still existed.
And they can't tell us no, 'cause it's not who we are. Gonna rise till we're standing on top of the highest star. And the world can't touch us now. We'll break through the fire. There's no way to...
When I got older, I started finding like jazz and like funk, so stuff like Parliament Funkadelic, Earth, Wind & Fire, Luther Vandross, George Benson, and all this stuff is so warm, and I kind of tried to like use that and their influences to create these like flips in this like electronic breakbeat world almost. So I went to college and I studied medicine, and I was 22, finished college. Around my senior year of school, I went to Rutgers, which is in New Jersey. So around my senior year, maybe like end of junior year, I had the opportunity to start like playing a few shows in the city, like basement shows, like basement at Pasha, basement at Webster Hall, and it was cool, it was exciting. I was just starting to dabble in making music. Things just kind of started accelerating at that point. I had the ability to gain more shows, play with more people. I was able to bring crowds. At that point, you know, you're half promoter, half DJ. It was exciting, and I think I was coming up on the end of my senior year, and I was playing a lot more shows, opening for guys like Skrillex or Alesso or something, playing Life in Color in New Jersey with Fetty Legrand. And these little opportunities kind of gave me hope. And so I told myself I'd give myself a year after I graduated school, and I did give myself a year, and I set, you know, certain criteria certain goals I would like to meet by then. And one was get a manager, another was play more shows consistently. And all these things just started falling into place. I got a residency at Pasha, and at that time it was another club called Finale, which was on Bowery actually, but it was like almost like a provocateur meets kind of like a marquee type thing. So they would bring in DJs like Zed, and back then like Clockwork and Nervo, and then it'd also be a fancier club. So between there and Pasha, I was playing a good amount every weekend, and music was starting to garner support. and I got managers, and things just gradually just started moving in the direction I wanted them to. I moved in with my girlfriend, and I just kind of showed up one day, signed up for the gym, and never left. She was in law school at the time, so we had like this, like 150 square foot apartment in the East Village, so it was really small. We were on top of each other all the time, so it was really good though. It was fun. It worked out. I was starting to make music and entered this beatport competition with Richard Durant. So back then I was making, when I was first starting out, I was making like everything really, but focused on kind of trance and progressive stuff. I entered this beatport competition and I won. And so I was getting a release on Black Hole, which to me was a huge recording label. You know, that was Tiesto's first label. It's where, you know, in the Sunset series, I think it was his first series, In the Sunset. He used to do the mixtapes, and they came out on there. It was like a very well-known label, a prestigious label, and that was exciting. And to me, it just seemed like I was moving in the right direction. I figured, you know, I can go straight and move on with my life and go into med school, or I can seize this opportunity and give myself some time and see if I can accomplish what I want to accomplish. And I did. You know, I was able to financially support myself. I was able to continuously move forward and up the ladder and accomplish my goals. I also worked really hard. You know, I worked all day, every day. It's all I did. I lived, breathed music. That's it. Nothing else. Mixes, downloading music, making music, learning about music, sitting in rooms with other people and other engineers trying to learn how they mixed music, and really just trying to make the most out of that time, and just slowly, gradually just got better at what I'm doing. I remember I was sitting at dinner and I told my parents, I think I'm not gonna go to med school. I think they were really bummed and they brushed it off, and I was like, no, I'm really, really not going. And I think they were distraught at first, and then after 2 weeks, my father came up to me and he's like, listen, you wanna do it? We'll support you 100%. And that's it. From there on, they've been really supportive, really loving, all about it, you know, rooting for me, hoping everything works out. So look, it's not easy. Everyone who thinks it happens over time, overnight, it doesn't. There's plenty of obstacles you go through and you have to overcome, and you have to constantly, you know, reassure yourself that you're doing the right thing, that you are working hard, that you are taking the necessary steps to kind of develop your craft and be better at what you're doing and make a name for yourself. I think my parents, coming from Russia and immigrating and being immigrants, they have a different mentality than most people. And they've always said education was number one. No matter what you do, you have to go to school, you have to go to college. For me, at least, you know, that's what I had to focus on. But after, when I wanted to work on music, my mom asked me, and she was like, listen, do you want to go to music school? I played keys my entire life, so my theory's fine, my playing ability's fine, but she's like, do you want to go? And I was like, listen, I can teach myself everything, I think. I'll just learn it, you know, I'll try as much as I can. And she was very supportive of that fact. My parents are very young, so their mentality is very different, but they came here when they were 22, I was 2, so they were very young, and you know, everything they did was, I think, to better their lives and as well as better mine, because back then they came from a horrible place. So coming to a country like this, you have all the opportunity in the world to do whatever you want. So I think I'm just trying to do that. This is complicated. How labels impact your sound and direction can be very beneficial, or it can be a nightmare. If they believe in you and they support you, they have all the resources in the world to take what you have and make it succeed. They have money, they have marketing teams, they have contacts, they have everything you need, right? It's everything you shoot for. You know, how do you get your music heard? A label is a great place. You can obviously do it on your own, independently, everything, but they have resources that you don't have. But at the same time, they also have their own vision that might not align with yours. So if you're set in stone about doing something, if you have a vision that you want to do something a certain way, it may or may not align with them. And if it doesn't align with them, I don't see it working out, especially if you're signed to a bigger label where they have other acts to focus on. There's nothing really that all of you can do to help each other. It's all just gonna fall through, and that's just how it was. In terms of a label being able to dictate the direction, I think they completely want full autonomy rather than you being able to freely do things. I think it's very rare that you find a label that goes, hey, do what you want, we'll support you no matter what. I remember submitting a record which I loved, and I think everybody loved. The label goes to me, hey, we love this, but it's not the direction or vibe we want for you. So you have no control. What do you say at that point? Well, I want to do it. Okay, well, we're not going to do it. Okay, well, then you're stuck. And no one says yes, and it's just agree to disagree type thing. And then nothing comes out. I have a lot of records that I didn't do anything with, which I will do things with, but since I was stuck, I couldn't do anything. It was very limiting. I have all these records that I want to put out that I think are great, and I've been sitting on because I was just in 18 months of lockup, essentially, not being able to do anything. You just have to look on the bright side of things. You know, you're healthy, you're moving in the right direction, you have interest in your sound. Things will work out once this time is over. I think a lot of people, not just myself, can tell you stories where they end up at a label and they don't get the support they expect, and they don't get the resources they expect, and then their music and the actual records themselves suffer because, you know, they're conforming to someone else and not moving forward with the vision they initially had. So initially, when I had a lot of momentum, Get It On was doing really well. We put it out independently and it just organically did well. At that point, multiple labels reached out to us from finding the record organically when it was on, you know, the Spotify Global Viral chart. So they find the record and they reach out. Hey, we love this. Can we hear more music? Okay, here's more music. We love all of this. They write you, well, what happened to me at least. We got a few regular emails, showed some interest, but decent interest, nothing that really motivated me. Then I got this email that was a heartfelt, long email. How I love what you're doing, I support what you're doing, I want to take what you're doing and push it forward. Okay, great.
Who's that from?
That was from industry.
But like from their like A&R?
Head A&R.
And it's like really personal.
And it's a really personal email. It's long written, it's well written, it's very long, it's heartfelt, it has, you all of a sudden are motivated, you're inspired, you're excited. Someone made you feel this way about your music. And so you sign with them, but you can't agree on things. But they had their vision already from the start, and it's not working out as planned. And then all of a sudden they're like, make a record like this, or make a record like that. Oh no, we don't like this record anymore. This isn't working out. I've heard a lot of stories. I have friends who've signed to like Republic and other places. Hey, even the Chainsmokers were signed to Republic, and Republic wasn't supporting what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
They left Republic, put out all these records. Columbia was like, hey, we'll let you do whatever you want, because their manager went to Sony and they let them do whatever they want, and it worked. You know, they blew up. But think of Republic didn't let them do anything. They were like, hey, we're not going to support you, and their records were still doing well even without their support. But think about the label now thinking to themselves like, oh wow, we really messed up. You know, I wanted to make music. I started in college, just like messing around with Ableton and beats, and I was listening to trance at that time, so I was making trance or trying to replicate what I was hearing. I think I was able to develop as a producer by doing that over the years, but I was always like trying to copy a little bit here, copy a little bit there. I would hear a song and be like, oh, gotta make something like this. Oh, this song is big, gotta make something like that. Eventually I realized that I shouldn't be doing that, and I should really be focusing on making the music I want to make, and even if it's really different or wherever my inspirations come from. I love guitar. I can't play guitar, but I love chopping guitar samples. So I kind of just started with that and like getting inspiration from these old jazz records, old funk records, and I think I used some of the, obviously the production techniques and capabilities I learned over the years to apply it to making something new. But you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to continuously work hard at it and push boundaries and hopefully eventually land on something new and fresh. Yes, Sentiments, my new record, it's out. It's been made for 2 years, so that's exciting. But it's my favorite record, one of my first things I'd made in this like funk sound. It was also made in headphones in approximately 5.5 hours, just like very naturally and organically. And it feels right. I hope you guys dig it.